warming down now. Short session today. Like I said earlier, this track is wonderful for speed work. Even better when there's not lots and lots of kids running around, but there are a few today, being a public holiday, but they're not difficult to avoid. So just did a few thousands, nothing hectic, and at about 4 minutes a k, maybe just under. I actually find when I'm doing speed work, I'm capable of running faster, but I keep the speed down a little bit just to protect from injury. On this surface it is also cement, so it is very hard as well, which is something that you do have to think about. And at Comrades, it's speed, it does help you, but you don't need flat out speed. So it's not essential to run at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So this is one of the places that I do frequent. Run, well, it's this week is a recovery week for me, so I just did a few thousands today. Also do a lot of 2000s around here. That's kind of my favorite interval distance, is 2000. To me, I'm not interested in my times over short distances. I'm only interested in marathon and further. So I focus a lot on 2000s and hills, and fartlekking. So yeah, that's just, if there's any information there that anybody can use. There's my little boy. Hey, hello boy. Are you riding your bike? Are you having fun? And the other benefit about coming here to train is you can bring everyone along and they can have fun while I'm training, and then we can join in the fun. Let's go find your big brother, boy. So here is my lovely wife. She's been looking after the rebel while I've been running, and I just thought I'd give her a quick shout out. You can see she's wearing a shirt that says Regent Harriers, and I was wearing a different shirt, but from a previous year earlier. That's a group in Devon North that we run with, and if you are in Devon and looking to get going with running, it's a really good way to get going. Just look them up on Facebook or regents.co.za. It's a group that started 68 years ago and has been going ever since. It's free, all you do is pitch and run, and the original concept was to help guys who were all training for Comrades. So they have, in the lead up to Comrades, they have weekend runs every Saturday and Sunday, that if you do them all you will definitely be in good shape. And then there are also weekday runs. The biggest runs are on Tuesdays and on Fridays. Today I'm going to chat a little bit about some hill work. Right, so now that the road's a bit quiet, I can talk to the camera a little bit. Today I'm talking about hills, and I'm doing a hill session, a Comrade specific hill session. Today is the last hill session that I will do before I start tapering. I will probably do another hill session while I am tapering. It'll be early in the taper. And the reason I wanted to chat about hills is because Comrades is pretty extreme. If you go elsewhere and tell people that you run a 90-kilometer race, they'll think that is extreme, which is the first extreme. Then the second extreme is the gradients that we run up. Nowhere else in the world is it normal to have as much undulation as what we tend to have in actually most of our marathons and pretty much all of our races really. Everywhere else they try and find the flattest possible course for road running, pretty much. Whereas here we see things as a bit more of a challenge. So we have to, and along with that, obviously the terrain, it's just very difficult to find flat. Except for if you go down to Two Oceans and run the first 28 k's of that is the flattest I've ever run, pretty much. But here it's very difficult to run flat. So you've got to train for it. And with gradients as steep as sort of 10% on the Comrades course, you've got to be prepared for that. So like a lot of people, when they talk about hill training, they'll talk about a 5% gradient. Now that's great for general hill training, but I think for Comrades you've got to do a little bit that's steeper than that. And I'm just going to take you through some of the stuff that I've learnt over a period of time and found to be effective. Some of it is also contributed to by the fact that I'm a paddler and that we run up, or try and run up very steep hills with a boat on our back, so you have to be super strong. And I've obviously gained a lot of benefit out of that as well, and then applied it to my ultra running and Comrades running. So like you can see now, if you look at the gradient on the screen, you'll see I'm going, this is one of the hills that I run up. This is the one I'm going to start on today, and you'll see that the gradient is significant, or it should be if it's reading correctly. This is I think it's about 440 meters. Sorry, it averages 11% gradient, so that's pretty extreme. A lot of people would say too extreme, but I don't run up here a lot, but I do use it for form work. So when I'm running up here, I'm not running up here fast. I'm concentrating on being efficient and on my technique. So that's what I do in this hill. And then I've got other hills that are a little bit less steep that I use, and I do it all in the same session. I run from this hill and then to the other hills. They're all pretty close by, and use them for different aspects of hill running. Now, one thing that is not often spoken about when people talk about hills is running down the hills. You've also got to concentrate on your technique when you run down hills. So, you know, a lot of people tend to overstride and extend their legs out in front of them, and their impact point goes out in front, which is the wrong thing to do. You still got to keep the impact point under your hips, not overstride, and keep efficient, and keep the impact and strike point forces low. So about to turn around and do my first rep, and I'm going to shut up because I'm about to breathe very hard. So we're moving on to the second hill now. I just did 2 repetitions up the steep one today. I've done a little bit of strength work in the gym earlier, so I don't know, overloaded that. This one is a little bit less gradient for the first part, but then it kicks at the end. So I try to run a little bit faster and kind of drive through, and then just try and hold my form for the kicker as we get to the top. Now, one thing that you need to concentrate on, as I mentioned earlier, when you're doing hill running, is your form. Now, for me, the keys are try and get my heel on the ground and push off all the way through into full extension. So this pole is the start of my interval. I tend to, when I'm climbing, I tend to land on my toes and not get my heel down. So it puts a lot of load onto my calves and my Achilles. So try and concentrate on my form and run efficiently with especially my right heel, has got to push off the ground, and I've got to extend all the way back. Then the power in running comes from behind you, and the most efficient source of that power is your glutes. So you've got to really try and use your glutes when you're running, and particularly on hills, and that's what I'm talking about with form. Those are the keys for me. Now it kicks. So that's it. My heart rate is well into lactate there. I think as I got to the top, I got to 168, which for a 40-year-old, or almost 40, is pretty high. But you'll notice I'm not going that fast, and that's why you will hear it said that hill work is a relatively safe way of doing speed work, is because although you're working hard, your kind of impact loads and your leg turnover is not as high as if you're running the same speed on a flat. So the gradient kind of protects you from a lot of injury risk factors, but obviously there are others that come in. So this is Berman Bush. Don't know if it's light enough for you to see much. I'm just running into Berman Bush at the bottom gate, and this is hill number 3. So this is a long steady hill that I use. I think it's about 800 meters, and this is more of a steady running hill. It takes me just over 4 minutes normally to get to the top, but this is more steady running, the kind of gradient that most people would use. And then I sometimes come here first, and then run some of the other hills that I do, but today I've chosen to come here last so I can run up here when I'm slightly fatigued. So yeah, you can use gradient like that in your session. Obviously on Comrades I'm going to have to run up a lot of no-name hills when I'm tired, so trying to condition myself to Comrades. So that's the thinking and why I do it this way for Comrades. So another reason why I love running in here is there's no traffic. This is a closed road, so I can run wherever I like and avoid the camber. You may have noticed when I was running some of those hills, steep hills earlier, I was trying to avoid camber and run on the flattest part of the road. That's a rule of thumb for me. Obviously you have to be mindful of traffic, but those roads are pretty quiet, so I can get away with it. It's just another thing you should be mindful of. Obviously safety is more important, but if you can run on flat and level camber, make the effort. It's worth it. So I gave that one a little bit of gas, see what I could do, and I've decided I can do another one. So heading back down. I spoke in my track session video about how
I don't run a max when I'm doing interval work for Comrades. Now this is a good example. I can run fast in this, I can put more effort in, but I don't believe it's worth it, and I don't believe it's the best way to prepare for Comrades. You're risking injury obviously by going harder and faster. It does give you the high VO2 max and all of that if you do go hard, but at Comrades you really are running aerobically, so you want to get efficient in your aerobic zone, and concentrate on that. The VO2 max, it does have a benefit though, I'm not talking that down, but it's just not of the same importance as if you're running a 10 or a 21. The other thing that is on Comrades, you're running an ultra marathon. It's more than double the distance of a usual marathon, with lots of elevation gain and loss. So you'll see I'm probably about a tick over for about, I'm almost at 11 now kilometers, which is a reasonably long hill session distance wise, and so I believe it's better for Comrades to run further and at a lower intensity, because you're conditioning yourself again for Comrades. So it's all about conditioning yourself for the race that you're doing. So there really is less benefit in blasting up and down a short hill and doing an 8k total session compared to doing this. So session all done, feel pretty good. Just thought I'd make a comment to add to one of my earlier videos where I started at something stupid o'clock in the morning. This is the other end of the scale. So I started in bright sunshine and now it's completely dark. And it's a fact of life for someone training for Comrades that you run in the dark. It's just part of the deal. You've got to do it. You can't get enough mileage, and if you don't, the race is in the middle of winter, the days are short, so you get pretty used to your own company in the dark.